hard to believe that it's actually October with temperatures that we are feeling in the forecast. We felt it yesterday, and you're seeing a pretty copy and paste forecast from yesterday with temperatures right now in the low 70s on their way into the low 80s this afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Erin Ashley. Yeah, we're tracking the return of sweater weather though. True October temperatures are in my 10-day forecast, which means within a week, changes are going to be here. Changes from this. Temperatures in the mid to low 70s. Right now, stepping out the door for the lunch break, it feels very comfortable. It feels a little bit warm for this time of year, but it's manageable heat because we don't have the humidity. Overall, can't complain with a forecast like this unless you need to take care of the lawns and gardens, in which we have been very dry this week. But because of the drought monitor and the way that it gets its information and when it gets its information, we actually have seen some drought conditions alleviate. And where we've had severe drought over the tri-state, very southeastern Adams County is now just abnormally dry. So it's dropped 2 categories within the last week of data kind of going through. But you'll still see most of the tri-state, including the greater Cincinnati area, the 275 loop, and most of us still under moderate drought conditions. We do expect this to worsen before it gets better, and that's because, it's been incredibly dry this week. All of your weekend is going to be incredibly dry. It's not until Tuesday of next week that we start to notice some showers and storms, but the rainfall totals are not looking too impressive at this point in time. Clouds and radar right now, this Thursday afternoon. Yeah, just picking up on some filtered sunshine here and across the Ohio Valley, taking you outside to Newport on the Levee to some upper level clouds, 73 degrees, calm winds. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot in weather going on, but with the upper level clouds, I love these. They're so cool to find, especially as we see the winter time. They're a little bit more common because we see more upper level clouds during the winter time. But because we have them in the forecast now, you might see them too. Some sundogs out there. So I took this photo on my bike ride last night, and you really can't see it in that part, and you sure cannot see it here in the image here, but I promise it's there. So a sundog is actually when we've got a little bit of the light from the sunlight refracting on not one but both sides of the sun. And so you need the upper level clouds to do it. Lower level clouds will not cut it. I want to show you what a full sundog looks like, which stunning, gorgeous, amazing. And I took this in winter. I took this in February up in Toledo. So very common, or at least a little bit more common, to see a setup like this the later we get into fall and into winter, just with more upper level clouds. You do need it. But if you see it or have seen it and you took photos, send us your photos, fox19.com/pics, P-I-C-S. I'm going to drop it in the Facebook comments as well. That way everyone can kind of join in on the fun, especially since the weather's kind of boring, at least the small moments that we're able to soak in something a little bit exciting. So temperatures this afternoon, once again, we're in the 70s now, eyeing the low 80s with that filtered sunshine hanging on into your evening hours. Temperatures are going to be dropping into the 70s for your evening. So high temperatures today, low 80s, comfortable sunshine to pair with it. Maybe some of us not even getting into the low 80s, mainly going to see that east of I-71. So the rest of the day today, here's your hour by hour for your evening. Dinner plans, upper 70s to low 80s, perfect for the patio if you have dinner reservations. We see temperatures drop into the 70s by 8 because that's sunset. It's getting earlier and earlier. It's at 7:19 today. And of course, as we see the overnight hours, we will see coolest temperatures dropping into the middle 50s. So to give you an idea of what we woke up to this morning, many of us were reaching for the jackets, not exactly coats quite yet, but we did have 1 or 2 areas drop into the upper 40s, Harrison and Hamilton. With how dry it is, we're able to tap into the cooler temperatures in the morning, but also pretty warm temperatures. You're just able to warm the air up and cool it down a lot quicker when the air is dry and there's not a lot of humidity. So we're seeing that once again for tomorrow morning. A very similar wake up in which most of us are going to be in the mid to low 50s and some of us getting into the upper 40s. More of a guarantee for next week's forecast though. So tomorrow, rinse and repeat morning, rinse and repeat afternoon. Just a little bit more sun in the forecast for tomorrow, which makes for a little bit of warmer temperatures. We're talking the middle 80s for Football Friday, but by the evening, of course, kickoff is at 7. That sunset is at 7:18, 19 in the evening at this point in time. So around then, you'll be getting a beautiful look on the horizon of a sunset. Temperatures in the upper 70s. It's going to be picture perfect for our game of the week. Moeller at Elder, the Pit in Price Hill. Kickoff at 7, 78 degrees, and dropping into the upper 60s to the lower 70s overnight, or by the end of the game. Overnight, we will see temperatures drop into the 50s once again. For your weekend plans too, sunny, fit for the Sunflower Festival. Don't have to worry about any rain in sight, just perhaps a little bit too much sun for the Gorman Heritage Farm. It's represented in the temperatures, middle to low 80s towards the afternoons, and that'll linger a little bit into early next week. We're talking Monday with temperatures once again in the 80s. Tuesday is going to be humid ahead of those showers and storms, which are looking more like the afternoon into your evening, maybe, lingering overnight into your Wednesday. You'll see it here on your weather timeline. I brought you straight to Tuesday. The rain at 9 o'clock in the morning, it's west. We're not too worried about it here until the afternoon. Here's 4. Still just now entering the tri-state at this point in time. Here's 9 o'clock in the evening, and then it'll linger overnight into Wednesday. So perhaps the heaviest rain, if you're tuning in south and east of Cincinnati, is going to be well after the sunset. So your daytime plans will go off without a hitch. But here's the change in your 10-day forecast. And we mean change. Cooler temperatures, noticeably drier air, as if you couldn't get any drier air, but you can because how cool these temperatures are going to be. Middle 80s through Monday. Tuesday of next week is that change day in which we're tracking the showers and storms. They will roll on through, pull in the cooler temperatures that will settle in as soon as Wednesday and stick around all through the rest of the 10-day forecast, which means not this weekend, but next weekend might be more fit for the fall festivities, the pumpkin patches, the corn mazes. That's when I'm going to be making my plans, especially since I want to wear the sweaters, which sweater weather, she's here. Here's those low temperatures. So we're going to be waking up. I mean, some of us were already waking up with jacket-worthy weather, but we might be needing an extra layer or two this time next week with mornings dipping into the 40s. We're talking widespread 40s, not just a couple areas, but everyone into the 40s overnights into the mornings there. But that's not this week, that is next week. So you're going to see a tale of two halves here in your first alert extended forecast, in which we've been in the middle 80s, we're staying in the middle 80s up until Tuesday, in which we got some showers and thunderstorms that day. We call this thunder showers. I mean, it's basically a thunderstorm just with a little bit more impact due to the rain rather than something like lightning or gusty winds. So it's not going to be anything too chaotic for Tuesday, just some rain pulling on through for the afternoon and evening. Now your morning rain chance on Wednesday is mainly going to be south and east of Cincinnati as we see the tail end of those showers pulling on through, which means here in Cincy, we will be able, that is, to tune into some cooler temperatures in the low 70s that afternoon, and we'll hang on to the clouds, but we will not hang on to the rain for the River Roots Festival, which starts on Wednesday. And the sooner we get rid of the rain, the sooner we can see the sun, which a lot of it is expected for the second half of next week. Yeah, tale of two halves is the way I like to describe it, because you can literally split this 10-day in half and say the first 5 days will feel like early September, and then the second 5 days, the latter half, will actually feel a little bit more true to early October. All right, let's see if we have any questions. Andrew's saying, hello, I see temperatures next week getting down into the 40s. Me too. Me too. It'll be nice. JD's tuning in. What's the weather for Canton, Ohio tomorrow morning? How are you doing? It's going to be cool up there, pretty similar to down here with temperatures in the 40s, partly cloudy skies, and I'm doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, is 12:10. Let's go ahead and take a look here at, I believe, yeah, so yesterday was the start of the statewide burning regulations in Ohio, but also Kentucky. So I do want to give you guys that first alert on what you need to know in order to abide by these rules. So the current bans, if you will, that is going to be for Ohio and Kentucky. We've highlighted the counties in red to give you an idea, but it's every county within those states. For Ohio, we'll start there. No open burning, so this includes campfires between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. That is when the sun is up. That is when the wind might be kicking up a little bit with the heat of the day, if you will. So that is to keep everyone safe and to keep any small sparks of a fire that may light at bay. But, I mean, even a small spark of fire can get pretty out of control during this time of year because of how dry it is. And that's why these statewide burn bans are in place. Now in northern Kentucky, same time frame, no open burning between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. and that's going to be all the way through the middle of December. But they are a little bit more specific with it as well. They say specifically within 150 feet of the woods, grasslands, prairies, just nature in general. It's to keep everyone safe, to keep the environment safe as well. So with these burn bans in place, they will be in place for Southwest Ohio, October and November, for Northern Kentucky, October, November, and the first 15 days of December. Now the latest fall color image out here. So because it's been warm and because we got a little bit of rain last week, it kind of stunted how quickly we've been seeing the leaves change, which we're still seeing some patches of fall color out there. The drought, though, it's going to be adding stress. You're probably within the next week and a half or so going to notice a lot more yellows, a lot more oranges and reds out there. And it's going to be mostly due to the lack of rain. Not last week, but this week, of course. But then, as we see the temperatures finally start to drop, that's the trees' way and signal, if you will, for them to say, all right, cut off all the water supplies. We're keeping it for the trunk and the branches. The leaves, you don't get any water anymore. It's a safety precaution, if you will. A defense mechanism. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a defense mechanism there for the trees and the branches. That way they can survive the winter, the cold of it, and things of that nature. And they just don't receive a lot of rain or water during that time. So patchy fall color that you see now, you'll probably see past peak fall color by the end of this month. So big changes are in the horizon, not just with the fall-like feel, but also how it looks outside, and the drought that we've settled into is to blame for a good chunk of it. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions coming on in. It is 12:13. I'm going to go ahead and sign off of here. Thanks for tuning in this Thursday afternoon. Have a great rest of your work week.